the new and permanent director of the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks, the one and only Lynn Posey. Lynn, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good, Paul. How about yourself?
I'm good. You know who just crossed across my brain there, and I shouldn't even mention this, but I do a lot of things I shouldn't do.
Never stopped you before.
No, it hasn't stopped me before. Sometimes when this happens, I think they speak to me, and that's the late, great Paul Ott Carruth. He just came to me and said, how much we missed the guy, because he was the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. He was a big part of that for a long time.
He certainly was. He was a good man, and we all still miss him. He did a good job with what he did there.
He sure did. Well, look, you're nestled in now. You've been there for a while. You've got your permanent label and everything else. There's some things going on. The fall of the year is here. People are excited. We had kicked it off with a new velvet season, but there's a lot of things going on. You just take the microphone here and tell me exactly what is happening.
Well, it is, Paul. It's a really good time to be a sportsman in the state of Mississippi. Like you said, we just finished our first ever velvet deer season. Just came through a youth hunt, had a little teal hunting going on, primitive weapon season for does here going on still. And this Saturday's a big day that every sportsman in the state of Mississippi almost looks forward to. That's a big day, that opening day of gun season. And one of the things I wanted to do here today was come out and visit with the sportsmen that will be headed to the camps in the woods this weekend. Wanted to remind them to go out and buy their license, and if they've got their license already, make sure they check that expiration date on it. That license means a lot to the department. We're able to take the dollars that our sportsmen spend on it and leverage it at get about $3 to every $1 they spend from the federal government to help operate a lot of the programs that we run here at the department, and really helps to get that license. And not only are you helping, us at the department, but we're able to turn that around and help folks out in the field. We manage our wildlife management areas with these dollars, our fishing lakes, do hunter education, fishing rodeos, and one of our big things at the department right now, it has been for a while, is to try to get these kids introduced into the outdoor areas, and all that helps us a lot to do that.
What is fine if you're caught without hunting deer without a license?
I'm not sure exactly what the fine is, but it's not a real big fine. But it's one of the more predominant tickets that our officers have to write, because law states that you have to have that license to be out there if you're on land that you do not own, and we don't want to do it. We much prefer that we get your license dollars up front. We don't get a dime from any tickets that's a write. It all goes to the county. So, go on and support the department on the front end where we don't have to write those tickets, and we get the money to, keep teaching our children about the great outdoors.
Absolutely. I always say this, and somebody was asking me, it's been a couple of years ago, because I haven't deer hunted in a while, but I mean, I've done it for so very, very long. My suggestion to somebody who just moved here is go to the website, know the rules and regulations. Certainly if you're having somebody come in who's from out of state, they need a license, of course, and just know what the rules and regulations are as far as tagging and everything else. Because we have a lot of wonderful places on these preserves to hunt, but just know what the rules and regulations are and make sure you get that license.
That's certainly good advice. Get the license, go to our website, visit, read the rules and regulations, and you'll be in good shape, and you'll have a great time out there hunting or fishing,
what does it look
you
like?
might be doing.
Yeah, Lynn, what does it look like as far as the health of the herd out there?
I think the hunting season is going to be real well. Of course, we're struggling with CWD, trying to manage that.
Still.
And yes, we are. And, we've got most of the outbreak, as everyone knows, is in North Mississippi. And I think it's like 146 deer that we found positive in the state of Mississippi since 2018. It's in about 9 different counties, includes about 14 counties that are in CWD zones. But we're trying to work with and do the best we can to contain it. We've got 63 drop-off freezers out this season for folks to bring those heads in where we can test those, and we certainly appreciate everyone trying to give us some get the heads in where we can run these tests and kind of at least keep an eye on what's going on with the deer herd.
When the deer processors get this and they suspect it, what happens there?
Well, we've got really the processors don't do anything. It's pretty much taxidermists that we're working with. We have over 60 taxidermists there, and of course, obviously the bucks are more prevalent to catch the CWD disease, and these taxidermists are testing. They're doing some testing for us.
Mm-hmm. So, but they can do the testing there.
That they can.
I got you. When's the last time we had an albino deer buck harvested in the state?
I don't know the
answer
answer
to that.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
Just
ever so often you get a piebald buck somewhere. It's not really that rare, but it's a total albino is pretty rare.
It is pretty rare, and I've seen one on social media. Somebody had a copy of or a picture of one on video, but they're absolutely beautiful, ghostly.
Yeah, they are. I misspoke a little bit about the taxidermists testing the deer. They just really are taking the parts off the deer that we need to send to testing is what they're doing for us.
I got you. So they don't test it.
They don't actually do the testing. We have to send that off.
What is the what's the status of the park system here? Because I know that was one of the things that you've been working on diligently, and just to give the people an idea, because fall of the year is just a wonderful time to do that.
It is. We're in the process of, I think, trying to turn our parks around. They've been neglected for a while. They were still great parks, but they obviously needed some attention there. Matter of fact, as of today, we'll be opening 2 bids to renovate the cabins in Natchez State Park and Percy Quinn State Park, and so we're looking forward to that. And we actually have about 5 parks in our first line of renovation projects. And not only are we renovating just the cabins themselves, we're trying to do camp pads, infrastructure. The legislature was really good to us, give us some of the ARPA funds to go in and redo the water, and wastewater infrastructure, and we're dealing with some of our utility companies to come in and take over the electrical systems in the parks, which is something that should have been done years ago. Our people don't need to be fooling with electricity. We need qualified people in there doing that, so they just make the whole thing better. But And in working with the park, we're trying to, go in and just do a lot of cleanup work in the parks. Trees need cutting. We're cutting trees. We've got some new equipment out there, and I think we're really going to try to turn the parks into a system that some people in the state of Mississippi can be proud of.
Two of the favorites that my 2 kids have grown up with was Lake Lowndes, at the 2 cabins at Lake Lowndes. I can't tell you how many times we've been there year after year after year when they were young, and those were 2 great cabins at Lake Lowndes in Columbus.
Yeah, almost everybody's got a favorite park or favorite cabin somewhere within the park system.
And that's what I want for the younger generation. I want them to go out there and just enjoy that and be part of their memories too, because it's just that. Even more so then, when we did it, there was no such thing as social media or iPhones and things like that. But now it's more important than ever before.
Now it's everywhere, and that's one of the things I wanted to do was, like we talked about earlier, is encourage our hunters and sportsmen out there to utilize the websites we have. We have a good website and got some apps you can download to do different things with, report your harvest from WMAs and things of that nature. Paul, let me say one quick thing in here before we close out. I wanted to mention this. We've got great law enforcement officers over there at the department. We've got 175 or so of them. Need some more of them. We're starting a new school. The advertising opened yesterday. You can go to State Personnel Board and fill out an application. We're going to try to recruit a class of at least turn out 15 cadets, but we'll take as many applications as we can to get that 15.
We got some more time unless you've got to go.
No.
All right, well, we got another segment here. You got 175 game wardens out there is what you're seeing. And you got a class that's going to start, and you got 15 a possibility. Where do they come from? What's the obligations? What do you need? When's the deadline? All of that information is forthcoming from Lynn Posey when we come back. Just a second. Hang on. Let us get back to Lynn Posey, Executive Director, Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. And when we last left you, the Executive Director was talking about some job opportunities. If you would like to be a game warden, and start over. And again, we have how many out there now? 100 and what'd you say, 75?
Around 175. It stays in flux. We have a lot of folks retiring. We hire new guys, and the number's never constant. It's always changing, but like I said earlier, we need more, and then we feel like we offer an opportunity to some young men and women who, if they want to join one of the best trained law enforcement agencies in the state, we have that opportunity available. We started recruiting yesterday. Our recruitment process will go through December the 15th, so you just need to go to State Personnel Board and sign up. We recently received some raise from the legislature when they installed the stuff, so a starting salary for a cadet that would go to actually a 24-week school. We do 2 different schools. Our officers not only trained in law enforcement, but they're trained in what we call our Makota school, which is basically learning how to operate in the woods and deal with situations out there that they're in every day. Mm-hmm. But starting salary for cadet we $33,600. But as soon as they finish that school and graduate, that salary goes to $40,000 a year, and we encourage everyone to try to get out there and apply. It's a tough school and it's a tough job, but I hear a lot of those guys saying every day, that if you're doing something you like, you never have to work a day in your life. So a lot of them enjoy that, and we encourage folks to get out there and apply for this school.
Lynn, they're certainly on PERS too, aren't they? As far as retirement?
They are. It's retirement insurance. It's something that someone who enjoys outdoors certainly needs to be looking into.
Do they get any options on what part of the state they want to stay in the home areas, or are they, like Highway Patrol, are just assigned?
No, we try to work with every cadet to put them in where we feel like they can do the best job. Sometimes that's around the home. Sometimes that may not be right at home, but usually over a course of time they can work their way back to a particular area if that's what they want to do.
We always talk about law enforcement people deciding to move from there into game wardens. But what about a young guy coming out of school, college, or, I guess you have to be 18 or 21, or what do you have to be?
I think the minimum age is 21. I stand to be corrected on that. We have a few requirements. We're reviewing some of those requirements now, but it's a certain number of hours that they have to have in college and some experience there and all that. But all that's on the website. It's easy to find.
But they don't have to have law enforcement experience.
No, law enforcement. It helps sometimes. We actually take previously sworn law enforcement officers who may have never gone to the through our school, and a lot of them sometimes come over to our department.
What was turkey hunting like this year?
Turkey hunting is always good. It doesn't matter. We enjoy turkey hunting, and most folks around the state enjoy it. And I've talked recently with Adam Butler, our turkey biologist there at the department, and he's saying that the hatch this year was one of the better ones we've had in a number of years. We've got some concerns out there, and our department's working with Mississippi State to address the concerns. Population has declined to some extent, but the hatch that we had this last season may make up a big difference. We're waiting to see all that before we make any decisions on how to handle season changes or bag limits and things of that nature.
Lynn, I'm a Delta guy. I grew up on a farm in the Mississippi Delta, and if I took one thing that has dramatically changed now, and for some reason it happened about, 20 or 30 or 40 years ago, it's been a long time. We were inundated with rabbits. I mean, you had rabbits all over the place, and then all of a sudden they just kind of disappeared. People were seeing coyotes and things like that. Is that the same for you, or are we just not in the right spot?
It is. I think it's the same way all over, and it's not only just rabbits. It's
quail, everything.
Quail, but it mostly, in my opinion, it comes down to habitat. You just don't have the habitat that those animals need to survive, and of course you have a predator situation as well. We have way more predators than we used to, and the habitat's not what it used to be. And with that combination, that usually cuts down on the population of some of our game animals.
Look, when we first moved where we are now, the grandson and I, he was real young, and we drove around one night just spotlighting deer, not with a spotlight, but just in the neighborhood, in the suburbs here, in the surrounding area. 44, we counted 44 within about 10 minutes just driving around with the headlights and seeing the eyes shine. There are no trees there now. Most of our suburbs. So the habitat does matter, does it not?
It does. It certainly does.
All right. What else you got on the list there?
I don't know. Hadn't got a whole lot more. I've covered what I wanted to really talk to about the license deal, and would follow back up with the license and just make a statement. I'm not sure exactly what the fine is, but I can promise you the license costs a whole lot less than the fine does. So a good reason to go buy a license and support not only the department but the programs we run with those dollars.
And like most law enforcement officers in the state of Mississippi, they have a sense of humor, but not when they're on the job and not when you are at fault. So do be careful, and it could be the taking of your pickup truck, your guns, and everything else if you have violated. I was looking at this one story here. The U.S. Marshals Gulf Coast Regional Fugitive Task Force returned no, that's not the story. It was a guy from Oklahoma, and I have it in here somewhere. We have a lot of people who think they can get away with things by running to a third world country in Mississippi, and we have our law enforcement people always pick them up, and they get caught in Mississippi. This guy was from Oklahoma. I have that story in here somewhere. Look, sir, I thank you so very, very much. If there's anything that you need from us, please let us know. The number one priority as you go back to your fellow cohorts in the 2023 session that you are requesting, is it money or anything else? What's the number one objective in the session coming up?
We would like to see continued funding for our parks and our operation we have there, day-to-day operation, but that will be pretty much our answer will be mostly money. We won't have a whole lot of technical stuff to do or game laws that want to be changed. It is an election year for those guys, and I'm sympathetic to what they have to go through, and we don't want to put a whole lot of pressure on them to deal with anything.
And they appreciate that.
Yeah, we hope so.
We have any park lakes that are shut down under restoration that haven't opened yet?
I think Simpson County is getting ready to open pretty soon.
When will that happen?
I want to say next spring, and maybe another one out there. I'm not exactly sure, but we've our fish biologists do a really good job with those lakes. They're on top of the game when it comes to keep taking care of those lakes.
I'm going to ask you a stupid question here, but when we had the coverage of the low water on the Mississippi River, which feeds into so many of our oxbow lakes, which I spent so many different thousands of hours on those things, some of the best fisheries in the world.
No doubt.
You think the low water is going to affect those? Have you guys talked about that at all?
I don't think it'd have a tremendous impact on them. I hope we're getting ready to start seeing the water come back up in the river.
It's coming back up 9 feet in 9 days, so that's good news.
I think we survived any fish kills or anything like that, as far as I know.
It is always a pleasure, sir. Thank you so very much for coming in, taking the time, and looking good, and I look forward to talking to you again. Anytime you need us, give us a call.
Thank you, sir.